Hi, we're talking to Sharon Farrell about last night when she went to see the Rainmaker. What was that like?
It was wonderful. It was just wonderful. I'd never seen the play before. I remember the movie. I remember Charlton Heston with a lot of teeth.
No, the Burt Lancaster.
Oh, Charlton Heston. I'm sorry. Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster. And the fellow that played Starbuck was just really normal and nice and didn't overact, and he was just incredible. And Tana Frederick was just, she was just wonderful. She, the whole thing, the relationships between the father and the daughter and the two brothers, it was just, it was a wonderful situation. And it was, all these guys with this girl, they decided that she's not ever going to get married and she's not ever going to have anybody, and that she's just a plain Jane. And it's like they've got to have her a plain Jane, because otherwise, if they looked at her sexually, these brothers, it would have been incestuous, because she was a sexy girl, even though they kept saying she wasn't. She had that quality of sexuality and beauty. I don't care, you could put her in a gunny sack, and Tana would be fabulous. She'd still be sexy in a gunny sack.
But don't you also think the sex part, I always felt that a little bit was the brothers wanted to keep her plain so she could do the cooking for them to keep house.
Yeah. They wanted to be taken care of. You're right about that. You're right. But everybody, and at the end, at one point, it was like I was laughing so hard. And then right towards the end, when Starbuck comes back and the whole thing, Starbuck wants her, he says, "Come with me." And then the sheriff comes in, or the deputy comes in. The sheriff comes in, and he says, "Don't go." I just cried. It was just wonderful. Everybody was like, the whole audience was absolutely packed, and it was fabulous. And then of course, after the show, Tana's mom and dad, I met them, and they're from from Mason City, Iowa. And she, in her dressing room, she has pictures of her mother and father getting married, and she's got all these little mementos and all these little pictures in her dressing room.
Why do you think actors do that? Did you ever do that? Keep something personal?
It's like, I'm trying to remember. I didn't really put up my family and boyfriends and people I was in love with, because it kind of took me away from the character.
Okay.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
There was a play I did, When Are You Coming Back, Red Rider, which was a takeoff on Petrified Forest. And I remember I did that, and I needed something personal. And what I got was an autograph, they called them albums. Judy Collins had signed it, because she's a friend, and that was my personal thing, to give me something personal of why I'm doing this and what it means to do it.
Yeah, I don't think I did that. I mean, I had, everybody sends you like telegrams, and good luck and break a leg and things like that. And I think I had them plastered up, and maybe other people in the cast, pictures of them. But I didn't put in my mom and my dad in their wedding pictures, and little cousin Johnny, and she's got it all. She's made a little sweet little, remembrance of all of the things that she loves in her life are right there in her dressing room. It's very sweet.
I wanted to ask you, what was it like towards the end when it started to rain?
It was so exciting. I got goosebumps just talking about it. When it started to rain, it was just incredible. And then it was fabulous. It was just electric. I just can't believe this guy wrote. How long ago was this written?
Back I think it first came out in the 50s, 1954.
Oh, and it's just so fresh and wonderful. It doesn't look old-fashioned or anything.
Yeah.
It was such a fun night. It was just wonderful.
And it's still running at the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Not the Odyssey. It's at the
It's the Edgemar.
Yeah, Edgemore's center.
It's on Main Street in Santa. You have to look up theaters, and I had
In
because I
Santa
never
Monica.
remembered theaters in Santa Monica. It's the Edgemire or Edgemar.
Edgemar.
And
yeah.
it's a fabulous theater. It's a fabulous location. And next door is like this kind of thrift shop where you could go in and they have just wonderful old clothes and.
Well,
and
then you
all
went
kinds
to
of
a
stuff.
party after that, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Well, I went earlier
Earlier.
in the day. I went to Chuck Barris had a party. He had a birthday party, and he's a designer. He designed the Batmobile and all these wonderful cars, these Hollywood cars. And I got to see Mamie Van Doren, and I got to see Terry Moore, and I got to see Francine York, and I got to see Shirley Jones and Marty, her husband, and it was just really fun because I hadn't seen him for a really, really long time, and everybody looked really wonderful, and the food was delicious, and Chuck Berry had a really happy birthday, and Ed Losey was there, making sure everything was going right and making sure the photographers were taking the pictures of everybody, and it was just lots of fun. So I had a great day. First I went to that party and then I went to the play, so it was like really fun.
So you had a great Sunday.
Yeah, I did. And I
Okay.
haven't done that for so long. And I went by myself because when you're going with, when you go with a partner or something, they might not want to scurry around like I was able to scurry around. I had my camera. And afterwards at the play, Henry Jacklum came. And he was sitting at the piano, and he had this kind of Humphrey Bogart kind of hat on, and he was just kind of sitting there, looking kind of, I was clicking pictures of him, and I was very impressed with him because I love his movies, and it was just lovely. He gave me, and he says, well, if you walk to the car, he says, I'm going to give you some movies. And he gave me like 8 movies that he had made in a book of Orson Welles and Henry Yoakum's talk.
I would love to.
Oh, it was I feel like Christmas. I already had my birthday's at December 24th, and I had my birthday last night and yesterday afternoon. I really did. It was just lovely.
I remember the one because Orson Welles. I remember Orson Welles standing in the back of the theater with him when he's doing it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
That was a great.
I can't wait to read. I can't wait to read it. I'm gonna just. I mean, I got enough. I'll be watching movies for like 3 or 4 days, because he gave me so many. I'm just gonna have like a film festival in my house and get popcorn and Coke and just sitting there watching movies all the time, all of his movies, so it'll be good.
That would be good. Okay,
Yeah.
Sharon. Thank you.